I worked in a factory that made mascots until I discovered the truth. The factory I worked in was huge with thousands of cube-like machines. I pressed buttons. White meant ready, red, finished, yellow, eject. When the machine was ready, I pressed forward, forward, left, forward. I waited 3 minutes, then I hit eject. It paid well for what I did, which was sit and press buttons. I got the job straight out of high school. I did initially want to be a mascot, but apparently I don't have what it takes. However, I was offered a job in maintenance making mascots. I had a screen showing me a bird's eye view of the machines down below, but I didn't actually see the process. I figured it was boring anyway. We were just making costumes. The screen displaying the footage was locked. Unless there was an emergency, I didn't see anything. The music drove me mad. It was loud, especially during processing. It was always that same tune, When You Wish Upon a Star, on repeat, which was so loud, I started taking my own headphones and laughing to my own music. 2 weeks ago, I had a headache, so after pressing the usual buttons, forward, 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 left, forward, I reached for my coffee, taking a scorching sip, spilling it all over myself and the control panel. Pulling out my earbuds, I grabbed a napkin, my gaze glued to the panel, which was toast. Right in the middle of processing product number 127890. I was about to stab the emergency button under my desk when the music stopped. That constant tune, da 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 da, slamming into my brain came to an abrupt halt, and something else cut through the uneasy silence. I never questioned the music. I secretly believed in the conspiracy that the song was played over and over again to subtly drive workers to work harder. But now the music had stopped. Something felt wrong. Initially, I thought it was a machine acting up, but no, something ice cold wriggled down my spine. Screams. I could hear agonizing screams. And because the panel was toast, the mechanics were messing up. When the locked screen flashed up, I found myself staring inside Unit 56. All I could see was red dripping from the walls, the ceiling, spinning blades slowly descending from every angle, needles and saws inches from a guy, early 20s. I could see where the work had begun on his face, peeling a chunk of flesh from his cheekbones. He stood with his arms by his sides, swaying, half-lidded eyes glued to oblivion. But after I stabbed a button with an eye symbol, he jerked suddenly, blinking rapidly, like he was waking up. He was awake and aware, inches from a frozen saw. The boy's lips parted, a guttural cry rattling my skull. What? He broke into a sob. What's going on? He whispered, straining against metal arms restraining him. His cries fell into incomprehensible screams, guttural cries I wanted to block out. Slowly, when my brain was fully registering what I was staring at, my clammy hands slipped from my ears. Somehow, I thought it was my fault, that I hadn't done my job properly, and a worker had gotten caught inside the machines. But the steel restraints wrapped around him were molded for a human. I found my voice, despite my brain screaming. When You Wish Upon a wasn't played to help me work. It was played to cover the screams. Calm down, okay? I crawled over to the panel, stabbing at buttons. I was aware I'd puked, thick, acidic sludge running down my chin. What's your name? The boy broke down, and I noticed, my gut twisting, I could see his skull. Sam, he whispered. He was wearing an engagement ring. I saw it glittering on his index finger. I want to go home. I couldn't respond, my hands trembling, tearing at my hair. I could barely feel my own fingernails ripping hair from my scalp. Why can't I feel anything? Sam sobbed. I tried every button, but the panel was locked. I couldn't lift the metal bars restraining his torso. I couldn't save him. I was ready to go down there and free him manually when my talkie came to life. Eleanor? My manager's voice crackled through my talkie. If there's a problem, press the overload button, and soon, please. The entrails need to be disposed of. The cleaner needs to be dispatched. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Get him out of there, I managed to whisper. It's like she was completely ignoring me, like she was used to people disobeying her. Eleanor? My manager repeated. All right, I'll continue processing from my end. No. Please report to my office after your shift. There will be disciplinary actions against you. I dived forward, and a guard entered, immediately restraining me, forcing my arms behind my back. I screamed, hysterical, but they wouldn't let me go. The control panel lit up bright red, and Sam started screaming again. I heard him spluttering out my name, but his cries didn't last long. Sam! I lunged forward, but the guard violently yanked me back, muffling my screams. I just stood there, forced to stand there, watching the machine continue, mercilessly slicing through Sam, splitting his bones apart, and stuffing his remnants, including his brain, into a shiny new Flynn Rider costume. The flaps of skin resembling lips spread into a joyful grin. Jay just can't get my nose right. Eject the product, Eleanor. I managed to shake my head, paralyzed to the spot. No. Her sigh crackled through the speaker. Eject the product or you are fired. When I refused again, she did it herself and then fired me on the spot. On the screen, a brand new Flynn Rider mascot walked out, and a red-haired girl, caught up in a trance, slowly walked in. Ariel. The screen flashed white, and I had no fucking control over it. Ready. Forward. Forward. Left. Face the spinning blades. Forward. Before I could stop myself, I lunged forward and stabbed stop. I heard the sound of blades coming to a halt, and that was enough. But I couldn't do anything past that. I was dragged out of there. After a sit-down with my boss, she made it very clear that if I said anything, my family would be in danger. I went home and tried to end it. I stood in front of my bathroom mirror, and I couldn't stand kneeling the truth about those things. I keep seeing Sam. I keep wondering who he was, if he had a family, a significant other, or siblings. In my head, I go back to that slaughterhouse. I'm back in my office during the processing, and this time I managed to stop it. I take Sam home. Instead, I just stood there, fucking hopeless. I couldn't save them. And to Sam's family, I am so fucking sorry I let you down. Look, I've spoken to my therapist, and she suggested writing things down. So I am. I'm writing everything I can remember, but I'm begging you, When you get the chance, please just take a second look at the Disney mascots. There's a human inside, even if they're twisted beyond recognition. And I'm sure somewhere deep down, whatever left of them is screaming to be let out. Just don't ask for its real name. Walk away and don't look back. Or like me, you will go insane.